as a freelancer, it's hard enough to get jobs. It's hard enough to get gigs, So for me, I tried to bypass that and form a quote unquote company, just to legitimize it and everything else within that, because I always viewed that people or companies would rather hire a legitimate company that is fully licensed and has a website and branded versus a regular Joe Schmo who is out competing himself with everybody else on the market.
You founded Indie March Films, the corporate gigs, you do the business, uh, and then now start. You have a business going, the customer was able to create something that was a hobby, and you're able to turn that into a business. So tell us how you got started. Like, when did you say, hey, you know what, let's try to make this time gig?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me on. Hoping that everyone in KC and in the community and the clinic is safe and healthy. I've seen what you guys are doing, and on your other side, also with Thai Orchid, I've seen you guys are doing an amazing job with that. I know you're giving back to communities a lot. I just saw your recent video, and everything that you guys are doing at Thai Orchid is absolutely kicking ass. So congratulations on that. But thank you for having me on. I started this company in 2014 after a few years of freelancing, and I one of my biggest perspective going into it is that as a freelancer, it's hard enough to get jobs. It's hard enough to get gigs, So for me, I tried to bypass that and form a quote unquote company, just to legitimize it and everything else within that, because I always viewed that people or companies would rather hire a legitimate company that is fully licensed and has a website and branded versus a regular Joe Schmo who is out competing himself with everybody else on the market. So that was one of my biggest advantages that I try to acquire, is that, hey, maybe I can get a leg up on freelancers who are just doing the grind, doing the hand-to-hand combat into trying to get jobs. And that for me actually really sped up my progress into the career that I've had over the last 5 years, really sped up the company, just legitimizing everything. I think it's one of those things where, at the time I saw X amount of my friends freelancing, and it's like, this is not a beneficial way for everyone to just fight each other and try to win bids. So within even the company, I bring a lot of those guys who were freelancing into the company. And that was my intro to creating a actual company, even though I was by myself.
So in a way, you were uh, freelancing, and then you had a full-time job, right? So that transition where you were doing it on the side, on the side. When did you make that jump?
I started to realize how cheap everything is compared to LA,
Mm-hmm.
right? So one of my biggest advantages is that knowing how competitive LA is and seeing the market out here, I work a corporate position at Red Rock as a analyst for their non-gaming side, and I was there for about a year and 2 months, um, and I think I realized that it's very competitive to in this market. It's a very downtrodden market in Vegas, meaning that the competition is not as much as it is in LA. And I figured, hey, I have a good amount of savings in the bank. Like, why not just try this out for a year and see where it can go? And honestly, I didn't have much actually in the bank. Like, looking at it now, 7 years later, in 2014, I probably had about like 5 grand in the bank, but I was confident in my abilities to do what I needed to do. So that was my transition from corporate to to freelancing to running creating a company essentially.
Was it a moment that the light switch went off, or was it like a slow, hey, I can do it, I can do it, you know, I can do it? Or was it like a epiphany? Did you have to look back?
You know, I'm very much a planner, um, and I foresaw what I wanted to do in the next X amount of months while I was still working that position. Um, the epiphany kind of landed when, you know, I was not only managing my department, but also the only person that was working the department. So in reality, I was working about 60, 70 hours for a pretty shitty salary, right? For what at that time, I think I was making about like 40,000 or something like that, close to it. And the hours I was putting in just wasn't comparable to anything that I was getting on financial side. So I didn't want to do it any longer because I was coming in on a weekend. I was working during Thanksgiving because I knew if I didn't go in or I knew if I didn't finish up the work that needed to be done, I would probably get overloaded with work that following Monday. So, you know, at that point, you have to kind of realize like it's your time worth putting in to a company that might not really care about you. Although I had a great supporting staff and my VP and my president and everybody else. But as a larger corporation, I just didn't foresee me working there with the way they were uh, um, treating their employees, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, calculate the hours, 67, it's probably like $10 an hour over the course. Even though you're close to 40, but yeah, hours. Yeah.
No, it really wasn't worth it. But what I've learned during my time there in my year and a half was, you know, I was openly meeting with VPs and GMs and planners from large corporations.
Basically changed entirely in the past 4 weeks since March, mid-March. What's happening in your world?
You know, I've been lucky enough to be a part of a great company at Bleacher Report. Shout out to my guy Steve Pellegrino for bringing me on. They were actually a client before that, and then they decided to open a heavily focused betting department vertical out here in Vegas. And he brought me on as their DP. So I'm eternally grateful to him for, especially right now where, you know, hundreds and thousands of Vegas locals are out of jobs and filing for employment. And, you know, I can't say enough good things about the leadership at Bleacher Report and at Turner for doing what they've done in the last 4 weeks or so, just taking care of employees and making sure that we're on the right progress and creating new content that are actually really good. So I'm proud to be that team. Um, as far as business goes, I think since February, you know, I've had about four cancellation of clients, and that probably cost about 25,000 overall. You know, so it's been a hard first quarter in terms of the business, but for personally, we're still holding up pretty well, just due to working at Bleacher and um, having that financial relief from them. But you know, we're moving on progress, and there's a lot of exciting things that are happening. And I think once COVID-19 kind of dissipates, I'm really looking forward to getting back on track with the business and how everything works. We've had a lot of inquiries already for the next couple months in September till the end of the year. So we're pretty excited to hopefully get back on track and, you know, end the quarter three, so maybe start at quarter four, but end that quarter strong. And hopefully we'll get back to a place where we're once comfortable again to start experimenting with content and where we want to go in terms of the local market and just a different vertical of what I always try to focus in on the business, whether it's podcasting, doing digital work, and that's something that we're still heavily working on.
That's awesome. It seems like you're a busy man. You have Bleacher going, VR over here, working with a big team, and also doing your thing on the side with the clients and everything else. I know our lives have changed in the past month for sure. At least the routines are disrupted, right? So, what I see is anyone who's resists to change was forced to change, was made to change. So I think the individuals who are more flexible, and more adaptive to change, the faster they adapt, the much better they'll thrive in this situation. And I want to ask you about, you talked about how your business was definitely affected. You had a drop off and cancellations. What are some of the lights that come out of this whole pandemic and stay home, shelter in place order? Like, what are some of the things that you are finding that is positive in your life that wouldn't have otherwise happened?
And even going back to that, like I really feel for the people who lost the ability to go back to work, and lose their primary financial hood. It's a really hard struggle, and I think even a lot of my friends are going through it now, where their companies didn't take care of them, and they've essentially just got laid off the day after it was announced, right? So, but one of the really shining lights that I can see going forward is how everyone's adapting to the situation. There's two type of people, I guess, within this realm, and it's how you deal with it and how you progress with knowing that, hey, this is probably going to last for a while. So you as a 9 to 5 person, or you as an entrepreneur, or you as a hustler, like what are you guys working on within this time to really put yourself within a better place? And I see a lot of people doing digital stuff, which I absolutely love. I'm helping a friend out right now, doing her digital coaching, her Ayurveda, her meditation, and that's heavily going really well. In the last 2 weeks, she's been able to garner a good amount of donations and a good amount of payments from other companies that are hitting her up to lead their yoga retreats and to lead their yoga Zoom sessions. So there's a lot of opportunities within what's going on. So my biggest shining light is that people are really taking advantage of this time, and I really hope they do, because it's a good time to really settle down and work on the hustle that you've always been wanting to work on. So it's right now, like we've all seen that meme around, as like where if you have enough, if you don't come out of this with a new hobby, new hustle, new whatever, like it wasn't time. It's your dedication or whatever it might be, right? And both things are right, but also it's like, we, especially you and I, we have no kids, and I know you're married, but I'm single and no kids, so I still have all the time in the world to really work on the things that I want to work on. But for those that are, have a family and taking care of kids and raising responsibilities, like this is a great time. Like X amount of hours you can put in a day, whether it might be 1 or 2 hours, it's time you got to put in and sacrifice and work on yourself. Because honestly, the biggest thing right now, as my friend Mark Ragos said in our previous interview, it's time to pay yourself, right? Pay yourself, meaning invest in the time that you need to make for your future, whether it's hustling aside money or discovering something that you could do online. But as we've seen, it's hard to be able to trust companies to take care of you when something like this happens. So that's my biggest shining light, is that I hope everybody really gets aware into their possibilities and their creativity, and really just push boundaries of what they can do.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's just kind of taking the perceived unfortunate circumstances and making something out of it, right? Like you were saying, it's unfortunate for a lot of people that they are losing jobs or ability to provide for their families. But in the same token, it forced people to adapt and maybe actually, let's say if they've been hating that job for 10, 15 years, but were too afraid to jump, now it's time. It's never a better time. Because it's like when you're standing at the edge of the cliff at a bungee jump, you were told jump, 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 and you just froze. And then what happens? The instructor pushed you, and then next thing you know, you experience like bliss or whatever it is but you wanted to experience that for a long time. That's why you approached the cliff and signed up for that, but you were afraid to make that leap, and now you're forced to. So I think you're right. You know, anyone who's willing to face it and accept it, the sooner they accept it and willing to change, and the sooner they're going to thrive. And
No, absolutely, man. You know, it's like your even your analogy of bungee jumping, like that corona, whatever it is, the pandemic, that bitch is gonna push you off. So you better be ready to take that leap and get that run and start. You know, because this is not the only time this is gonna happen. Just y'all got to be ready.
Yeah, there's going to be another corona in 2030. You know, whatever that is, it can be a death of your close relationships, or you know, a personal corona. This is just a symbolism. It just happened to happen to everyone at once.
Yep. And this is, you know, we've seen, I mean, as we've seen in the last, 20 years, nothing's really ever steady. You know, no one was ready for 2008 recession. And, you know, I think now, if you look at the next few months, you know, I mean, it's hard to say, but I think we're already in a recession too, you know, especially going forward. Do the consumers of the world of America, are they ready to go out and shop? You know, are they trustworthy of this climate and condition of safety to go out and be able to once again eat out and shop at your local mom and pop and shop at Best Buy and all these publicly traded companies, right? Like what's going to happen within that? It's going to take a few months for public to regain their trust within safety. You know, I think even for me, like it's really as um, as less doomsday-y I want to be, you know, you have to take this seriously. And I think you and I, like we don't fear the virus, but it has to be respected.
Certainly. All right. Well, we rode through about 20, 22 minutes of this. This is a good little chat here. So thanks everyone for tuning in. You know, thank you, Kenny, for coming to the show. And then you know, we're gonna end with some rapid fire questions. You ready for this? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So as soon as I ask it, just answer right away. Whatever comes to mind. Okay. Best book.
Best book right now. I'm reading a autobiography of Yogi.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Best purchase under $50 this year.
Best purchase. I think maybe one of the best purchases, one of my Nikes from Nordstrom's that was probably like $50. I wear these things. I wear those things to Bangkok. I wore around my Southeast Asia trip, and that was about a 3-week trip, and I wore the hell out of that thing. You know, I probably walked like 10, 12 miles a day, and for $50 to be that comfortable and to walk around for 3 weeks in that comfort, it's a good purchase.
Hey, that sounds pretty good to me. The best show.
Best show.
Any platform.
You know, I've been watching a ton of Netflix musical documentaries. There was one about Nina Simone. The other one about about not Coltrane, the other jazz musician. But I've been watching a lot of musical documentaries, which have been really good. I just finished Tiger King last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is so April. I think April something. There's supposed to be another episode release. So kind of really looking forward to that.
I haven't watched it yet. All right. When you hear underrated, what comes to mind, or who comes to mind?
Underrate?
Yeah, underrated.
What does that mean?
I mean, you're underrated.
People or me?
No, me. Like when you say underrated, who comes to mind, or what comes to mind? Something that people don't give enough credit for.
Empathy. You know,
Okay.
empathy right now, man. I think people don't respect the what's going on out there, and they don't know the healthcare workers that are working X amount of hours per day, and it's people are still going out and joking around and not taking it seriously. You have to empathize with the people that are really putting their lives in the front line.
Literal heroes, right? So,
Little heroes like yourself.
oh, thanks. I'm far away from that, but I'll take it. One word to describe 2020
Roof. Uh,
so far.
Life changing.
Life changing. Okay. New hobby you picked up recently.
Oh man, I picked up a lot of new hobbies, dude.
One.
Uh,
One.
writing poems.
Writing poems.
Mm.
Okay. Sweet. The most recent pleasant surprise.
This is gonna be a good one. I've done 2 Sundays with no phones.
Ooh, that is a surprising thing for me to know you. Yeah.
Amazing. Yes, and it is, brother, it is life changing. I cannot recommend this enough. It is absolutely life changing in a way where it's like in the first few hours, you don't know where your phone is. You don't know what to do. Like, shit, like, do I check my phone? Do I not? And then, once noon hits and you have your plans to do what you want to do, whether you're going shopping or grocery shopping or going outside, it is absolutely life changing. I wrote like 7 pages of poetry. I got a bunch of things done. I meditated a ton. Absolutely life changing.
Awesome. You like those questions?
Huh?
You like those questions?
Yeah, great, dude.
Yeah, cool. I like it too. I think this is fun. So yeah, this is it. This is episode 0, and thanks everyone for tuning in. So we have a prize, or I guess a contest for those who are listening right now. So if you go online to ThaiOrchidKC.com and purchase an online order, we'll match whatever you paid. We'll send you a digital gift card. So all you need to do is go online, order whatever you want to order, and then DM a screen capture of that order, and then we'll match it. So we'll buy this meal on us.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's everybody that wins. I hope you try Thai Orchid's kasoi. Kasoi, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things in Chiang Mai. I think we had that twice. Really good. I hope everybody tries that. Just open up your horizons when you get things from Thai Orchid and try different things that you've never had. I mean, there's such a good restaurant, locally owned, by my man here, John, and his wife. Support them and all you can, and get some good food, and you celebrate with the family, and be well, and everybody.
All right, perfect. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram just at Kenny Tjay, pronounced TJAY. You can find my personal website, kennytjay.com, and my video production agency at indiemarchfilm.media.
Well, thank you again, brother, for coming on today, and thanks for your time.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me on, brother.